All right, Cheryl, we've got game one in Winnipeg, the Dallas Stars, the Winnipeg Jets. This sets up to be an absolutely epic second round that I'm not sure anyone saw coming. If you go back to the beginning of third period on Saturday night in Dallas, Sunday night in Winnipeg, but here we are. Jets and Stars, they both survived after absolute thrillers throughout the first round and thrillers in game seven in particular. So what do we have in store for an encore in round two? How do you see this series playing out?
Well, first of all, Hayes, I hope it is a lot like round one. Wasn't that unbelievable? The pace of the game and coming right down to the wire. And listen, no one thought, the Jets with 1.6 seconds left, Adam Lowry, their captain, just finding a way to get it done. And on the other side, you've got Rantanen, who came from Colorado to get that Hattie in the third period. You're talking about resilience amongst these teams and both the pushback and the bite and the fight. Both missing key players. Of course, Robertson and Heiskanen out on the one side, Morrissey leaving in the first period, and of course Scheifele out as well. And all the talk was with the Jets. They were already leaning down the middle in that two hole, and now all of a sudden you've got Scheifele out and they find a way to win the game. It's absolutely incredible. It's kind of been that next man up mentality to find a way to get it done. And you're seeing two teams right now that are pushing the right buttons at the right time, and there's so much fight in them, and that's dangerous. That's dangerous. I think that the Dallas likely has the edge here if they're able to get Heiskanen and Robertson back in this series. The question mark around Scheifele and Morrissey right now. But overall, I would think that this game, this series could go the distance right now. We'll talk about goaltenders in a bit, but overall, just the depth, the pace of play, I think this one could be one for the ages as well.
Yeah, I'm certainly hoping for that. And I think you're onto something here. It feels like there's two teams of destiny that are colliding here in the second round based on what we saw from the first round, where Dallas, there were ups and downs. Winnipeg, there were ups and downs, but they both survived. They both got in. And when you consider how well they played all season, I think it's deserving. Winnipeg wins the President's Trophy. They end up with the 1 seed in maybe the toughest division in hockey. Dallas right behind them in the 2 seed. Although Dallas came down the stretch playing very, very poorly. They did not play well coming into the playoffs, and they found a way to prevail against Colorado. But neither team really has that Stanley Cup pedigree. They haven't been to the final dance and they haven't closed, unlike what Colorado's done in the past, what Vegas has done in the West. We know what Tampa and Florida have done in the East. So I think both teams are wading their way through the waters, and they both can feel good about the perseverance, like you pointed out. But the question marks going into this series, I do think, begin in net. And Connor Hellebuyck, he survived. Right, his teammates, he owes his teammates a huge thank you for allowing him to redeem himself in the second round, because he got pulled 3 times on the road. But he played well at home, and he played great in overtime in Game 7. And you mentioned it. Can that catapult him into a big second round? Also, Jake Ottinger, he runs hot and he runs cold. So I think the goaltending, Cheryl, is where this very well could be decided. With the uncertainties of players like Morrissey, like Scheifele, like Heiskanen, like Robertson. We don't know when they're going to be back, if they'll be back at all. Goaltending and home ice, and I'm curious where you stand on that, Cheryl, with Hellebuyck in particular. On the road, it was a mess in St. Louis. At home, he was perfect. Regardless of how it looked all the time, he went 4-0 in Winnipeg, and I think the Jets having home ice, to me, is very, very significant here. What do you make of the Jets having that home ice advantage, considering how well they've played all year and how well they played in the first round against St. Louis?
Well, winning the regular season is absolutely huge to get this home ice advantage here, Hayes. And when you look at it, it's not just because of, their record at home and the whiteout and everything that is surrounded by it, less travel to start. But most importantly, when you look at it, Heiskanen and Robertson likely not back for game 1 anyway. Well, now all of a sudden they're missing those 2 guys. So I think that's critical. You got the home ice advantage. Those 2 guys are likely out in the first game. So you got to take advantage of that. But you said it, Connor Hellebuyck has been gifted a lifeline. I feel like we're on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire here. He called, he phoned a friend, he got the lifeline, and it's all out right now. He's got an .830 save percentage, but I do think that overtime should have given him some confidence. Now all of a sudden he's got a series, the beginning of the season. The pressure is off right now to get back to reset, to find your game. If Morrissey is out, he's got to find a way to make those grade A saves, not just perimeter saves. You got to find a way to make a key, timely save. He's a back-to-back Vezina winner, so he's going going to be. So you got to find a way to get that done. And that'll settle everyone in. But when you look at Ottinger on the other side, I think he's got in around a 9-11 save percentage. You said it, he runs hot and cold, but we have seen him with some magnificent performances in the playoffs. So I think we might as well have a split screen on these two guys. But I think with the lifeline, and now all of a sudden a little less pressure coming into game one, I think that Connor Hellebuyck should be suited to get back on course.
I think that is the most significant element of this whole series. Connor Hellebuyck, in my opinion, was the best player on the best team all season. We're not in the regular season anymore. We're into the playoffs. And it's not just this year. It was last year and the year before that. But if he can return to form, I think it washes out everything, Cheryl. I really do. I think obviously you need and want Mark Scheifele. You need and want Josh Morrissey. But the greatest cheat code in the sport is goaltending. And there's no one better than Connor Hellebuyck. So if he got over those demons in the first round, and we don't know yet, and we may not know until we get to game 3 in Dallas. He may look great in the first two games in Winnipeg. What he does game 3 in Dallas, I think, will tell the story. And for me, if he shows up the first 2 games, but most importantly, game 3 in Dallas, that is an absolute game changer for this Winnipeg Jet team, because I think he's more than capable of stealing games, regardless of who they're playing. So for me, it's on Connor Hellebuyck, Jake Ottinger. The coaches are going to factor in. We'll see what happens starting Wednesday night in Winnipeg.